Hello and welcome to Life Less Ordinary. I have just done a quick trip to the hardware store and to the feed store. We didn't need to get this, but I decided to get this. But at the feed store we needed to get some chickstarter and I got some apple cider vinegar with garlic. So this is something that we put in the water. We put about a cupful into the chicks and the chickens' water every week, and this just helps with their digestive tract and with helping with worms, to sort of like a bit of a dewormer. So that's our preventative way of dealing with that. So we've got that. We've also, so like I said, I've got the chickstarter. So this needs to go around the back and be added to the bag, to the bin. So this needs to be added to the bin around the back that has the chickstarter in. And then these. Well, we didn't need these. We do have in our corn area a bit of space on one end, and they had these. These are sweet corn, super sweet corn, so I thought I'll get enough to fill out the rest of that garden bed. And there's a whole heap of climbing beans here, which I'm going to put on the arbor near where the corn is. And then, in the interest of succession sowing, because I already do have some onions in that I put in probably about 2 months ago, I've gotten a tray of brown onions or cream gold onions, so that we will have onions over a longer period of time. So that is what we got, and we're about to go and put this where it needs to go and go and plant all of this stuff. And also I got a bit of sulfate of potash. I do have some hydrangeas that are meant to be blue, but are not. They're red or pink, which means that the soil pH is not quite right. So I will test the soil and add some of this to try and make it slightly more acidic. So we'll see how that goes. At least she was willing to try. On a hand? Ready? Let's go. So let's see if we can get this right. So we can just pull it off. Yay! Getting the right side of the feed store packet, meaning it's easy to open. Done. Okay, that can go in there, all ready to go. Feed done. So we've just had a breakage. The girls are going to tidy that up while we go down. I've got these plants with me, and we're just redoing the water for the big lot of chickens with some of the apple cider vinegar. Been given some unusable or old fruit and vegetables, but as you can see, unless I chop it up, chickens really don't eat it. Maybe if there's holes in the tomatoes already, they'll start eating it, but if it's whole, it just kind of sits here. It's a little frustrating. So we're going to change this water, tip it out, and put some of a capful of the apple cider vinegar with the garlic in it. Much cleaner. So we just put a capful in, yep, that's it. And that will just help with the intestinal life of these chickens. So what I'm about to do now, before I plant out this corn, it is sort of almost to the end of the season for these, and corn in particular are heavy feeders. And like I said, because I'm also adding some new corn towards the other end of the row back there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some blood and bone to the topsoil there. So it's just added nutrients for what's there. Going to be a little safety conscious because I have had some respiratory issues the last month in particular. So a mask and gloves, just to sprinkle a little bit of this on the topsoil, and this will get watered in by the sprinkler system. So I'm going to try and get this on the soil and not on the plants themselves. So I'm just doing a light sprinkling. Getting a wash at the same time from the sprinkling. So this is where I'm going to be putting the new lot. So I'll have the water on for a little bit for that to be watered in. So what I have here is a hydrangea, which is an enziandum hydrangea, which is meant to be blue. With hydrangeas, the soil pH affects it greatly. So the flowers should be blue. Because they're pink, I'm assuming that the soil is acidic, is alkaline. So I will test to see what the acidity is, or alkalinity, and I believe for hydrangeas we probably want it more around a 5, and it looks like I'm reading around a 7 on that. So that's why I've got this sulfate of potash. So I'm going to pull back the wood chip. I'll put the handful of this down, put the wood chip back over, and then I'm going to give it a good soak. So I'll actually put the sprinkler on here to give it a good soak for about 20 minutes so that that will be absorbed by the soil. Now we are, this is flowered. We're not going to get any more flowers off this, but at least I've got a head start for next season. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with that, and again, because I'm using a chemical for all intents and purposes, I will be using my mask and using gloves. So I probably just want it far enough out so that when the plant grows to this size next season, it's as far out as that. Now we've only had this, are you filming?
Yeah.
So we've only had this wood chip down for probably about 4 months, and you can already see that it's starting to break down. Very big advocate of using wood chip, and if you're interested in doing it probably a bit finer, check out Back to Eden Gardening. Very interesting, very interesting. I think it's called Gouchy or something like that. Back to Eden Gardening. It's got some great stuff about using wood chip. So like I said, I'm just going to put a small amount of this around here now, and the intention would be that probably the end of winter I will test the soil again to see what their pH is before this starts taking off. So this will start getting new growth on it probably in August. Yeah, if I test the pH, then I can know whether I need to add more or add something else if I've changed the pH too much. That's what I'll do. So before we put the sprinkler back on, I'm just going to get this stuff back over the top of it, put the wood chip back, and then Salome can go and turn the sprinkler on. Yep, good job. So we've allowed the blood and bone to be watered in for about half an hour. I've got 2 large punnets of probably about 12 sweet corn in each one, which I'm going to put in this area. And Salome has the climbing beans, which she's going to plant just inside the arbor on this side and on the other side of the corn. You could do something called the 3 sisters, where you interspersed amongst the corn, you can plant the beans and they will actually use the corn as their trellis to grow up the corn. I've done it once before, and then the 3 sisters being the corn, the beans, and then planting pumpkin, which will grow along the ground, so it becomes a ground cover. So it's the 3 plants working together to create an ecosystem that protects from insects and also helps nourish the soil. We are not going to do that right now. Maybe another season we might try that again. But Salome is going to plant the beans along with there to go up and over the trellis, and I'll put the corn in here. So we've managed to get this planted out, and Salome's done very well with putting the beans along with here and trying to start them getting trained. It's the reason I did purchase them from the hardware store from Mitre 10, because they were a little bit more advanced. So they're less likely to get eaten by things. Anyway, we'll give that a go. So Salome and I are just planting out the last of the onions in this garden bed. And then that's our succession sowing of onions done. So I've got some in another bed that we planted a little while ago. If I just take part of that. So it just means that we've got onions over a longer period of time. I mean, onions you can store, but that's if you've got enough storage space. We don't have a huge amount of storage space, so over winter we can actually store them by keeping them in the ground. So that's one of the benefits of planting them now. These ones I probably won't actually, even though they'll probably be ready mid-winter, I'll probably keep them in if I don't need them until springtime. So that is one of the benefits of succession sowing. Yeah. Done? All done. So we're done. Collected all our bits and pieces. Salome, what have you got there?
An apple.
Where'd you get that one from?
From one of the trees.
So there's one of the 12 trees apple trees we planted along the back fence line there to give us 6 months worth of apples. It is a February bearing tree, and it has given us 2 apples. This is the second one. So next year we should have lots more apples. Anyway, thank you for joining us as we live our life less ordinary.